Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to America TV. Hi, I'm Maya Trainer. I'm one of the guides here at America, and we welcome our audience joining us online. We truly hope that you are doing well and staying safe amidst this outbreak. Well, anyway, for those of you who are first-timers here, hi, welcome to America TV for the first time. America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young generations of Indonesia to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a solely digital platform so you can enjoy our program from the comfort of your own home and have fun on the curve of COVID-19. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comment box below, and our panelists will answer them later in the seminar. And for our friends here who are joining us through Zoom, there are a couple of features that you can use to actively participate in the seminar. You can use the raise hand section to ask your questions with your video on, or you can also use the chat box section whenever you wanted to say hi to the other participant and also the panelist as well. But please keep in mind to use these features wisely, all right? Cool. Now today we will be having a session titled Your 5 Steps to Study at a U.S. University with EducationUSA at America. A friendly reminder for all of you as continuation of our 10th anniversary celebration and celebrating diversity in Indonesia and in the U.S., we are having a very special activity with giveaway this month. In this giveaway, we're giving out an iPad Pro. Wow, how exciting! So make sure to stay tuned till the end of this event to find out how to participate. In the meantime, I will break the ice a little bit with our social media quiz. So our question of the day is, what does the Latin term alma mater mean? Is it A, foster son, B, youthful knight, C, nurturing mother, or D, none of the above? I will repeat the question one more time. Listen carefully, okay? What does the Latin term alma mater mean? Is it A, foster son, B, youthful knight, C, nurturing mother, or D, none of the above? You can participate this quiz through our social media comment section and stay tuned till the end of this event to find out if you get the answers right. And now, without further ado, please welcome our moderator for today, Kak Santika Salim, Education USA at America Advisor.
Hi everyone, thank you so much Maya, and hi everyone, welcome to Education USA at America event. Thank you so much for your time for attending our event today, and we have a very special guest today from BPK Penabur Jakarta International Division. Welcome, and we will have 5 steps on how you can plan your studies to the United States. If this is your first time, my name is Santika. I am one of the Education USA at America advisors here. And we have Fina as well, my colleague and fellow advisor. So both of us will give you a very detailed, you know, description on how you can start with your first step, second step, and until the 5th step. And before that, we will give you an introduction on who we are and what we do in general, so you can get a good idea of what we can provide you with the guidance, okay? So here is the introduction. All right, what is Education USA? We are a U.S. Department of State. We network over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. So we are basically all around the world. And we promote higher education in the United States, around the world, by offering you accurate and comprehensive current information. So if you have any questions or confusion that you want to clarify or you have doubts on, you can definitely come to us. Okay. And there are 8 centers and total of 10 advisors in Indonesia. So there are 2 in Jakarta, 1 in the US Embassy. There are David and Iqbal. And there are 2 of us here at America Jakarta. We are in Pacific Place, small. But we are currently online based, so you can still meet us for advising via Zoom, and I will share the details later. There is Fina and there's me here for the at America one, and we have 2 in Surabaya, the U.S. Consulate General. We have Hesky, and there is another one in Universitas Airlangga Unair in for Ambar, and then the next one will be in Medan, the U.S. Consulate. There was Jeffrey, but we are still looking for another advisor at the moment. So you may want to come to the next closer advisor or advising center. And the next one is in Malang in Universitas Muhammadiyah. We have Zaki. And Makassar, we have Cendani in Universitas Fajar. And last but not least, we are also located in Banda Aceh in Universitas Islam Negeri UIN Araniri. We have Lilis there. So if you know anyone who wants to study to the States and don't know where to go, don't know where to start, our center is and our advisors are the great place to start. You just need to find the closest center to you, and if you cannot reach that, you can go to another center, and definitely welcome to come to Fina or me. Okay. And moving on to the steps. So this is our focus today and our basically our whole guidelines for today's event. There are 5 steps that we usually use to guide anyone to study to the States. So 5 steps here. The first one will be researching your options. And the second one will be financing your studies. The third one is completing your application. The fourth one is applying for your student visa. And the fifth one is the pre-departure orientation. So the fifth one, the pre-departure orientation, is actually a yearly event, and we will talk more about that because we have one of our advisees here who is actually quite successful or very successful in her university application to the States. So I will talk about that later when we are talking about the pre-departure and talking about the visa, right? But this is the overview, and we will go very deeply into each of the step along the way when we talk. So this is only for you for your information now, but we will go into deeper in each of the step with Fina. Okay. And here is the details on our advising sessions and availability. So you can come to us for one-on-one advising via Zoom because we are all online these days, right? Via Zoom. The ID is 276-124-396. And you can come between 1 until 9 p.m. on daily basis, except on days like this when we have events going on because both of us are here, so nobody will be in that Zoom room to meet you and wait for you to come there, okay? So you just need to come on days where we don't have events between that time. And you can also email us to jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org. So my tips for you, my first tips for you is actually save this part and save this part as well. So when we talk further into the steps and you are, excited to meet Fina or me, you know where to go. Even though I will kind of, keep on repeating this in the chat box in Zoom if you're in Zoom, or I will verbally repeat this again along the way if you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram Live. So you can also reach us through that. But just to be safe, just save this one, okay? And next one, moving on to our future events, upcoming events. So basically, this will be on Wednesday, June 16, from 7 until 8:30 p.m. It is one of our monthly events. It's how to write statement of purpose for the grad school application in the United States. But it says for graduate, but I still present it here just because we basically welcome everyone, even if you are applying for undergraduate degree in the States and you wonder what kind of essay should you write. This will still be applicable for you, even though you will have to tweak a bit of the things that you will have to say in the essay. But it will still help you in terms of what types of essay that US admission is looking for. Okay? And next one is applying to the US grad schools, what and when to prepare. So if you're watching this and you actually plan for the undergrad, and you wonder what are your chances to go for the undergrad, right? But you can still take a look at what if I plan for the grad school after I finish my bachelor degree anywhere else. That can, be doable as well. So you are very, very welcome to come here on Tuesday, June 22nd. On 7 until 8:30 p.m. as well. Okay. Next one is another monthly event of ours. It's letter of recommendation for the U.S. University application, do's and don'ts. And this one is actually not that specific for graduate applicants, I'm sure undergraduate applicants will also need letter of recommendations from the teachers and everything like that. So you can definitely come into this session, and maybe if you have any confusion or asking for tips, we can definitely provide that for you. And it will be on Wednesday, June 23rd, at 7 until 8:30 p.m. as well. So you can check all of these events on our website educationusa.state.gov or our website atamerica.or.id/educationusa. And then you can just scroll down into the very bottom of the page, and you can find all of the events there and choose which one you are interested in registering. Okay. All right, and that's all for the introduction. And now I would like to welcome my colleague, Fina. Hi, Fina.
Hello, Santika. How are you? I'm so jealous. You are in America. I wish I could be there with you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I see you're doing great as well. And thank you so much for making this happen. I'm sure a lot of wow, we have more than 100 participants today in Zoom alone. And I'm sure a lot of you are also watching from other platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram Live. So if you guys have any questions, regardless of where you are watching at, you can send us questions, okay? We will try our best to answer your questions. So if you're in Zoom, use the chat box to send the question. And if you're not in Zoom, you're anywhere else, you can use the comment box and send us questions. Fina and I will be here to talk about in each of the steps. And if you have questions along the way, please send us questions, okay?
Yes, and also, guys, please use our the Zoom chat feature if you are, of course, here in Zoom. But like what Santika said, we are not only in Zoom; we are using all of the platform out there. So we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are live on YouTube. So wherever you guys are watching this from, if and you have any questions or you just want to shout out, say hi to us, feel free to just leave it in the comment box or in the chat box wherever you guys are watching this from, because at America is amazing like that. We already have an amazing team who are going to make sure that Santika and I are able to see all of these questions from so many different platforms. So please keep the questions coming, and we'll be able to take a look at that and discuss that and answer it for you. So Santika and I, we are very, very excited. So once again, my name is Tina. I'm with Santika here in Education USA at America. Both of us are the advisors. So we are very excited for this event today, and I would like to, really welcome the BPK Penabur Jakarta, the International Division. Hi, guys. Really excited in taking some of your questions if you already have that. But like what Santika said, we are going to break down each of the steps of Education USA. So the whole idea of Education USA is that, just in case this is your first time, is so that we really want to as many people as possible to think of Education USA as the go-to place when you want to study in the US. Because like what Santika said in the beginning, explaining what Education USA is, we are part of the US State Department Network. So we are here for you guys. And it's really interesting because it's really funny to the point where some people ask, so how much is the fee? There is no fee. All of our services are free of charge. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I can guarantee you guys it is true. And Santika and I are always standing by here. And what is interesting also about Ad America is that, Special Education West Ad America, is that we are available every single day, guys. Every single day, name it, 7 days a week. We are here for you guys. So we start from 1 until 9 p.m. So Santika's shift is from 1 until 5, and then I take over the rest from 5 until 9. So I really hope, Santika and I really hope that after this event, you guys are considering talking to us, have a chat or what have you, right? So Santika, what do we have today? So we're going to break down every single step, which is there are 5. So I just want to tell you guys that we are here because we assist everyone every step of the way, right? So Santika basically, show the 5 steps, and let's break it down. Let's start with step 1.
Okay.
Shall we?
Step 1 is research your option.
Yeah. So I don't know if there are parents or I'm pretty sure there are some of the BPK Penabur teachers watching the session. So there are a lot of things happening, and step 1, probably the students already in step 3. Like, I know I want to study in the US, so let's do completing your application. But maybe there are some of us who are still, maybe parents or teachers who are still, why should I send my kids to the United States? Or maybe as simple as, what is the education system looks like in the US? What makes the US education system different? Right, Santika, we got this question.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got this
And
question a lot, and we wish that we can, share from the beginning, maybe before you even start planning, so it can help
Mhm.
you plan your strategy better, and maybe you know how much time you will need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So in basically in step one, it's the if you have any basic questions, this is like what we're gonna do. Or when when, like, if this is your first time hearing about us, and then you're thinking, yeah, I wanna have a talk with Santika or Fina, and you have a lot of basic questions, this is basically what we're going to do in step one. So we're going to do a lot of back and forth, me and Santika trying to get to know you. What is it that you need? Because we always prioritize the students' needs and also what parents really looking for, right? This is like what makes us quite different. If you guys are familiar with using any educational agencies, like probably we already know that there are plenty in Indonesia, in Jakarta, but we are not an agent. Again, we are part of the US State Department, so we are very official from the US, and we are not selling, or nor we can be biased on certain university. We can't do that, but we really try to help you in finding the right school, community college, four-year university, you name it. Okay. And the question about why the United States, what the education system looks like, let's dive into it, shall we? And another thing is because especially parents probably also want to know, what is it like to be an international student studying in the US? And it happened that Santika and we actually also graduated from the US, so we can also share our experience, what it's like to study in the US. I can see that Santika is trying to be active in chat in the Zoom chat. So again, guys, if you have any questions or you just want to say hi, maybe you want to share with us, when are you planning to study in the US? What major? What university? Or maybe you still don't know. Maybe you want to wonder if I should take business or economics or engineering. Can I take engineering or art? Feel free to share it with us. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to add, Santika? Or do you want me to just kind of like
So yeah,
dive?
in this first step, it's very crucial that you know your plans. So if you, like Fina mentioned, like colleges, you want to know what kind of college or university you want to attend, or at least kind of like what kind of field of study that you're interested in. It may not be something that, okay, I'm very, very sure I want to do business, because along the way, you will maybe change your mind when you are in the States. When you learn something new in the course or anything, you can change your mind. So it doesn't have to be something that's 100% fixed. So it's just what you are interested in. That's where you start to research on your prospective universities or community colleges if it's for you, and that's basically where you start your research. Like, if you know you want to study, let's say, business, then you will be trying to look for the pathway to a business school, any business school in the United States that you're interested in, right? So that's the beginning of where you try to think about what you feel like doing after you have your bachelor degree, if that helps. But if you totally, haven't have the idea on which field of study or interest that you want to go deeper with in the university, then that's fine. Then there is this community college that we can talk about. If you guys are interested, let us know. So it's basically 2 years institution instead of four, and it is where you can apply for transfer to universities at the end of your second year. So that's another option rather than going to the 4 year university as a freshman. Okay. And we'll be happy to answer any questions regarding to that. But yes, the first step is you taking the step to do the research on what you want. And then I think that's it for me. If Vina wants to add anything from the step one, If not, then we can move to the second step. Do you guys have any questions on the first step?
Yeah, do you guys have any
Mhm.
question? Feel free if you guys actually want to kind of like say it verbally, we can ask our team to unmute.
Yeah.
But let us know in advance so that we can, let you guys, wait for the team to unmute you. But yeah, no, I still kind of like want to linger a little bit in step one because I know it sounds very simple, like research your options, but I feel like this is it. Like this is because like when we go to step 2, 3, 4, 5, that means like this is it, guys. We're going to the US. There is no like turning back, right? So again, if you need some kind of like an assurance, like about like studying in the US, and what I love about the education, let's talk about the education system, right? What I love about the education system in the US is I couldn't find it anywhere else where they have such an education system where when you enter college, it is actually very normal for us not knowing our major. So probably anyone who is in grade 12 who already applied and maybe get accepted to some of the universities familiar with, when we're choosing the major for certain schools, there is this one option that says undecided, or there's something other term. I don't know. I forgot if you know the other term, Santika, but undecided or something else, meaning just, that you just don't know what you want to major in. And I found it really interesting the first time I heard about it. And a lot of the students, for whatever reason, come to us and then ask, it's not good, right? If we put undecided in there. And then I said, why? It's there for a reason, right? Meaning that even if you really do still undecided, it is still possible for you guys to actually choose that particular option. It doesn't mean that they're going to kind of, okay, no, we don't want to accept this student because you are still undecided. So the reason being that the reason why they allow us to actually being undecided is that the first 2 years of our study, and first of all, before I forgot, there is no foundation. You know how other countries, it's very common when we enter, there's some kind of like a foundation system. A lot of us think that, especially when we want to enter community college, it's kind of like a foundation. There is no foundation in the US. Even if when you enter community college for the first 2 years, it is you're already a college student. You're already a first year, what we call freshman, right? So there is no foundation. And then, but the nice thing about it is, the fact that for the first 2 years, all of the courses are still general, right? So meaning that they allow you to explore as many courses as possible, courses that you happen to like, right? Or maybe you don't know if you like it, but then you read the description and then you feel like, you know what, I want to try taking this art class, for example. And they allow you to do that, right? So it doesn't mean that, let's say you want to study engineering, and then so for 4 years you're studying in the US, engineering is the only subject that you are going to study. So a lot of us think, oh, really? That's like how the US is doing? Because that's what other countries are doing, maybe even in Indonesia. I don't know, right? But in the US, even if you want to study engineering, they still want you to be able to know how to communicate. That's why they allow you to take communication class. They allow you to, let's say you're an engineering person, but hey, look, but I also play music. So then they allow you to actually take classes, like take music classes. I couldn't find this anywhere else, other countries especially. And this is like what makes the US is actually really, really interesting when it comes to do your college. Okay. If you have any questions about community college, we can definitely dive into that as well. But let me stop there in terms of like step one. Hopefully everyone pretty much get the better idea of, oh, okay, so when I want to start studying in the US, for the first 2 years, I'm allowed to actually take courses. Oh, and another thing, back to the undecided part. Why is it undecided? Because of that. Because for the first 2 years, you are allowed to explore as many classes as possible. It's okay for you to be undecided. In fact, even if you don't have an undecided, but then you already pick, let's say, I don't know, a business, but then you kind of like want to change major to economics, or maybe, I don't know, something bizarre like engineering for whatever reason, or maybe communication or what have you, you are still allowed to do that for the first 2 years. All right. So, okay, I got a message from Santika, which Santika basically saying that I want to shout out to Sally. Sally is one of the students at BPK Penabur and happened to be Santika's advisee. And then Santika is basically saying that Sally wants to share something. And of course, so for to the team, before we move on to step two, guys, I think this is like really nice if you can have Sally talk to us. So yeah,
In
for the
Zoom.
for other.
So, mhm, just a heads up. We can call her whenever she is ready. Um, and yeah, I just simply ask her if she's willing to share on her experience because surprise, surprise, she was accepted in 18 universities. I was so shocked as well, but not all of them are in the United States, although most of them are US universities. So I will just ask her on the US university's counterpart because I think the application is just, it's just something that we all can relate here, especially Fina and me, so that we can also help you to guide you in that part if she shared anything that you are curious about. And more on, like how she select the schools before she apply, basically from step 1 until 5, but the step 4 and 5 that she will go through later on. So she probably cannot talk, too much about it, but that's about it. And we'll still be here for her, even if she already got accepted. And that's the sole purpose of step 4 and 5, yeah, Fina. The fourth is whenever you got accepted already and you are in the visa application step, we are here to give you the step by step to guide you and to maybe kind of like ask you questions like, hey, do you know where you want to live in the States? Because that's important. Like, you want to put that in the documents that you will submit to apply for the visa and everything like that. And the fifth one is the pre-departure orientation, where we actually invite everyone who got accepted to come in and have a briefing on what to prepare, what to pack, what will happen, and how to keep your student visa alive. Because it's very, very important. You don't want to violate it. And we invite a lot of people to maybe give to share on presentation and like that. And it's open for public as well. So if you are still planning, you are still welcome to join us on the pre-departure orientation. Okay, and that's just a bit of fourth and fifth step. We want to move to. Are we done with step 1, Vina?
Yes.
Okay.
Although
So
there's
let me ask if Sally is ready.
sure.
Sally, are you ready?
I
Yes,
look forward to
she's ready. Okay. Team, can you please turn on the video and the audio for Gabriela Sally here? Mm. Sally, hello. Thank you so much for joining us on a very last minute notice. Oh, she's still muted. Let me try to unmute. There you go. Hello, Sally.
Hi.
Thank you so much. I actually heard that you are going to have like a rehearsal for your graduation, but come here to join me and Fina and all of your friends here from from the same school, right? And thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate it so much. And let's hear your sharing or your story. So I actually met Sally in Zoom for about how many hours? That's our first talk, and that went for hours because Sally have so many questions on things. And yeah, maybe you want to share how it was in the beginning and how maybe we can help you or your friends to, get on track as you told me here.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I pretty much have I had like a broad idea of what universities I wanted to go to, but when I talked to Santika on over on Zoom call, she actually pointed out a few things that I didn't notice at first. For example, one of the most important factors for me in choosing a college was that the college has to offer like merit scholarships. And it just happens that like I was too focused on actually going to the schools and I didn't actually research if the schools actually offered the scholarships to international students or not. And that was actually like a really important thing that I missed out. Other than that, there were also like other stuff that Santika told me to research more on. And so initially, from my first ever college list up to the ones that I eventually applied to, I applied to 21 colleges. Um, so out of like all of the colleges, like only a few remained on the list. So that was like a really big change that like
Okay.
yeah, basically that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. And maybe on the second step, because you talk about scholarship, which is the financing your studies part, where scholarships is categorized under that step. So you told me you also got a lot of scholarship offer. Of course, you can only maybe choose one or two from the same university that you want to attend, right?
Yes,
So out
that's
of 21, you got, so 21 here, Sally is being very, very, how do I call this? Is, very, very good. Like, this is like my first time, and maybe Pina's first time hearing that one of our advisee at applied to more than 20 schools. So the good news is you don't have to apply to that many schools, but if you want to, you can, but you don't have to. Okay, so that's not the gold standard here. But if you want to go the extra mile like Sally here, you can, but you don't have to. So the point here is because Sally applied to so many schools, and of course she got accepted to most of them. Then she also tailored her options or choosing the schools based on the availability of the student scholarship, international student scholarship, because that's her target, right? Different student can have different target. That's why when we talk, when you meet Vina or me in the advising session, we will ask you like, what are you looking for? Do you know what you need? If you need international student scholarship, then you want to find university that have that. You don't want to apply and then later on find out, oh my God, they don't have it. And so Sally got a few or a lot of the scholarship here, and it's automatic, yeah, Sally. It's from your
yeah,
application. Once you got accepted, it's with the application, right?
yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
didn't have to submit like additional materials. So it was just with the application, and then when I got my acceptance letter, it also came with the financial aid package. Most of them are like merit based. Yeah, and yeah, it came with the acceptance letter, so I didn't have to send anything else.
Right. So here you shared some interesting information like Indiana University Bloomington. You said
Yeah.
direct admit to the School of Business. So does that mean like it has full funding scholarship or it's just
Oh,
different?
so direct admit, okay, because like in the United States, there are like a bunch of schools where you would have to study like the liberal arts curriculum first, right? So by getting accepted to the direct admit program, it means that I don't have to study like more classes for to like get into the business school.
Okay.
So like it's a bit of it's similar to like an accelerated program, but
Mm.
not exactly because I still have to complete 4 years.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's like you are admitted to the major while you
Yes,
are already still in the freshman. Is that
yes, that's true.
okay? Okay, I think they will give you some benefit on that. Maybe the choice of the classes will be more, diverse that you can choose from, if that makes sense, because you are admitted to the program already,
Yes, yes,
right?
that's true. And
Okay,
I don't have to take like the other what do you call it? Like I can directly study to and like I can directly study the topics in my
mm,
major instead of having to take like the additional classes. Because
okay,
sometimes there are also other required classes that are outside of your major if you're going to a liberal arts school.
right. That's very interesting. That's what Fina was sharing about. Like the first 2 years is general, and now it's another plus if you choose the US universities that they have so many flexible programs or pathways just to tailor the needs that you are looking for. Like, let's say if you want to focus directly, you are really sure about business, then this is such a good benefit for you, right? Vina, do you have any questions for Sally?
My question only would be because you mentioned that you applied to too many schools, right? And then you got accepted to a lot of these schools as well. Which, of course, Sally, congratulations! We're really happy for you. How did you decide? Because I always tell people, right? Like, there's one problem when we want to apply for the schools, but then there's going to be another problem when we already get accepted to several schools and then we get to pick one.
Exactly.
How did you actually end up? Okay, I'm gonna pick this particular school because Santika, before the event, Santika shared with me the list of schools in the US that you get accepted to, and then you want to study business. And when I look at those schools, I'm like, you got Penn, you got Indiana, you got University of Washington, you get Babson, and then these are, one of the, highly selective schools to get into the business programs. How did you actually end up? Okay, you did at Babson, right? And how did you end up? Okay, I'm gonna do Babson.
So what made me end up picking Babson was that I was almost 100% sure that I wanted to study entrepreneurship. So it's not just business. So it's very specific. It's that I want to create, I want to open jobs for people. Like, I was very specific, and I had like that very specific mindset. And it just happens that Babson is the best school for entrepreneurship in the United States. So what made me absolutely fell in love with Babson was their curriculum. So in entrepreneurship, of course, what matters more is not the in-class learning or the lectures, right? So there's one class at Babson. It's called Foundations of Management Entrepreneurship. And what this class is that you essentially will be grouped into teams of 10. And in that group, you would get funding from the school. I'm not sure about the exact amount. I think it's around like $5,000 per group. And you would have to build your own business from scratch. So it's going to be like a literal business with a CEO, with like the manager, and you would pick like the positions and so on and so forth. And in the end, you have to learn how to be able to experience making a business firsthand, like from scratch. And I feel like that experience is like something you wouldn't get at another university. And another concern that I have about Babson is that a lot of people don't really know about Babson, mostly because it's a small school and it only has like one major, which is business. But then I feel like this is actually an advantage for me because since it's a small school, I feel like the community is very tight knit. And especially like we're going to be able to build like really close relationships with the faculty and the professors and everything. So I thought that this was like a really beneficial thing for me. And then also Babson was part of a group of schools. It's called the Babson All In and Wellesley like group thing. So it's a small school, but all in you still have a big student body. So you get the feeling of a big school in a small school. And then so there's that. And then the what do you call it? With the second concern I had with the Babson not being known, like it's Babson not being famous. So I actually got accepted to the University of Pennsylvania, right, which is an Ivy League, and I have received so many questions from people as to why I picked Babson over University of Pennsylvania because it's like you're picking a small school over an Ivy League with a big reputation and all that. And so I was like, okay, but then the thing about Babson is that it's not famous and it doesn't make through the rankings because it's a small school and it only has one major, Like, even if it doesn't make it through the rankings, it doesn't mean that it's a bad school. And I feel like this is actually one thing that I learned a lot about the college application process, especially in the United States, is that there is no bad school in the United States because it's all a matter of which school and which programs fit you best. So for me personally, I prefer a smaller environment, like a more tight knit environment compared to like a very competitive environment like what University of Pennsylvania offers. So that's pretty much why I ended up picking Babson College over like any of the other universities.
That's such a concise list of why you choose certain specific
Oh,
school to attend. Um,
and if may I add
yeah,
something here, Santika?
yes, please.
Because when Santika shared with me that okay, yeah, so she picked she wants to study business, right? And then I was like, okay, and then which school that Sally decided on, and then Santika said Babson, and I was like, she must want to study entrepreneurship. And then you did say that because absolutely I'm 100% with you, Sally. Babson happens to be number one for entrepreneurship program in the US. And this is like a really great example for you guys because let's talk about ranking a little bit here, right? When a lot of us when we think about I want to study in the US, all the big names are the only ones that have always happen to come up, right? All of the big names that we already know, you name it, right? We already know that. And Sally basically shared, what you pick Babson over Penn? What did you think and everything, right? But this is exactly the perfect example on we always recommend our advisee to do their own research, right? Really learn about each of the schools that you want to go to. And no doubt, I mean, I have not met you, Sally, Santika did, but I no doubt I already know that you definitely have list of schools. I'm pretty sure you already did your research, right? So when you have all the list of the schools, then you really want to really learn about each of the schools and then make a pro and cons between those schools, right?
Yep.
So a lot of factors play in here. Do they offer internship? What about the location? How many partial scholarship that they can give us, right? And then Sally mentioned about Babson being small. It means that the student faculty ratio is very small as well, meaning that by the time Sally graduated, probably for Sally, blend in a job would be easier because connection and all that, right? Compared to when you go to a big schools, such like large public or private universities, where we're talking about classes that have probably can up to 300, 400 students in a classroom. And it's very easy for you to build that kind of relationship with a faculty. So a lot of factors play in here, right? When we choose the school. And so this is like a really great. I love hearing this story. Really, really. So yeah, it's great.
And it's totally amazing on how when you come to meet me, you only ask on, the surface of the things. And I just tell you that you need to research on this and that. And you really, really do that and step it up to this point. Like you do such an in-depth research that they will have this class or this course that no other business school maybe on those lists of yours will not offer. And only Babson will have it. And so I don't want to make this sounds like it's such an easy work to do because it's not, guys. This is all about hard work. And Sally here really, really work on it. And we will talk about your struggle later on because I think it's necessary for everyone here before you start. When you start planning, you need to be ready on what kind of effort, how much time you need to pour into all of this in order for you to be, maybe following Sally's step. Even though if you're not going for the same school or the same program, but this is, where you can learn on someone's success stories and who happen to be quite close to you, right? You guys go to the same school. So if you guys maybe have any questions that Sally can help you, then she's there for you as well. And so when we talk about, how you choose Babson and you also shared on the scholarship offer that you got, it's very interesting that Babson still give you pending scholarship offer. So what does this mean? Like they're still need more time to figure out things, or you have the updated offer that you can share maybe? Oh, you're still muted. Here you go.
Actually, they sent me like the interview, what do you call it? The interview letter offer, but
Okay.
it's not like 100% sure if I'm gonna get the scholarship or not.
Okay, so
So it's
it's an interview for the scholarship.
yeah,
Okay.
So I
So
got invited to for their scholarship
cool.
offers.
But if you want to do some mock interview, feel free to come to Fina or me. um, we can try our best to maybe shoot you some questions that probably they will ask if you are seeking some scholarship and things like that, just to kind of like have a practice. And FYI, for everyone who haven't meet us or be our advisee, this is also what you can get from us, right, Fina? So from the start until the end, and even if you are already in the States, and also this is for Sally, if you're already in the States, you have any questions, we're still here for you. Okay? So let's dive into this third step, yeah, Fina. This is where the hard work comes in, completing your application. And especially if you're applying to a lot of other schools, like Sally here, I think the most concern will be time management, especially if you are in the grade 12 or 11, if you want to start early, or 10, even better. The hard work is the time management and everything else. And if Sally, you want to share on how you juggle all the stuff, what is the most challenging things and everything like that on your application.
Okay, so the hardest thing for me was definitely writing the essays because I actually made a Google spreadsheet and I counted the total amount of words that I would have to write, and it came up to around 14,000 words.
Wow.
Yes. So eventually I realized that the prompts and like the college specific prompts that they what you call it the college specific prompts that they asked you to send them in the common application,
Yeah.
most of them are pretty similar. For example, one prompt would be like, why do you pick this specific major, or like what is like one extra like there's another essay that would probably like tell you to describe your extracurricular activity,
Yeah.
and like another essay that would ask you to describe something you're passionate at. So
Mm.
for example, the extracurricular activity and the passion essay can somehow be reused. I wouldn't say like copy paste the essay, but like you can actually like reuse the ideas that you used in the first essay and stuff like that. And like the why you picked this major essay,
Yeah.
it's a very common prompt that a lot of schools will ask. And most of the time, if you're applying to only one major, you would only need to write like that essay once, and then you have to make minor edits here and there, and then submit it to the other schools. So out of 14,000 words, I think eventually, like in the end, I only wrote around like 2,000, like 2 to 3,000 words. Yeah, so it saved up a lot of my time. But yeah, definitely write your essays early.
Yes.
Because yes,
Yeah.
because it's going to be really stressful if you're doing it in the middle
I
of
agree.
exams.
Yeah. And
Especially like as like a power student, we have our internals, right? Yeah. So
sorry, Sally,
have our A-level
you're
exams
breaking up.
around
It's
during that
probably
application
your
period.
connection. But yeah, Sally's point is you start early on writing essays because it is time consuming, and you will probably do a lot of revision if you don't feel comfortable in your drafts, right? And I forgot if I have ever read Sally's essay, but I'm assuming you didn't come to me for the essay review, or did you?
No, 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 I didn't.
Right? So what Fina and
Yeah.
I can offer you, and guide on, is also on the CV or an um, essay review. So what we can do is basically, if you're like Sally, if and at the beginning you have like 2,000 words and you have to narrow it down, and you come to us with the draft, we can try our best to maybe see how this fit and how this doesn't fit in your essay. So that's what we can also help you at if you need it. And if you are like Sally, you don't feel the need, or you are too shy to let someone read your essay, then you will probably, need more time to, how do I call this? Like self discussion. Like keep on editing and everything. But Sally, how much time you kind of like spend per one application? Because Common App will be like you choose a lot of schools altogether, right? Or you have like separate application outside of Common App.
I think I applied mostly through Common App,
Okay.
and then I applied to University of Washington in
Mm-hmm.
Coalition because they don't have it in Common App.
Right.
And I forgot. I think there was like one or two more in Coalition because like I only had to send it in like one application.
Sure.
And
So what you guys need to utilize here is the Common App, Coalition app, or if you're applying to UCs, it will be UC application. So that's just one portal for all of the UCs. So if you know from the start that you can utilize, any or all of this, then it will, make you feel like, okay, it won't be that hard to apply to more than one universities. And you got to make the best out of it. You don't want to just apply to one university and, make this whole good essay, right, Sally? If that's what you feel, that's why you apply to so many.
yeah.
Right? Because you just need to make one really good essay for the topic that you choose, and in each of the topic that they ask you to write, and then you can choose the schools that suits your needs that you're looking for, and that's pretty much it, and waiting for results. And of course you have to make sure it is your best application. So Sally, do you want to share maybe the hardest things that you have to go through for the application
Uh,
aside from the essay?
Aside from the hmm, I feel like finding like the best way to present yourself
Yeah.
in the application is probably like the second hardest part
Mm-hmm.
because of course there's like so many like the common app of course like they have a word limit and
Yeah.
like there's only so much things that you can show them, you know.
Right.
So it definitely like have like taking the time to select through like all your activities, all my extracurriculars, and which one would fit best into my narrative that I'm trying to show the colleges. And also like one part that I actually took like I think it was around 3 weeks to perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
was the additional information section of the common application.
Mm. What did you put
So
for that
I
additional
actually put a lot
information?
of stuff in there.
Oh,
So first, I put about I wrote about my school's curriculum
mm.
because our grading course for Panabur it's a bit harder I think
Yeah,
compared to like schools
definitely.
in general because an A in like my say for Panabur in Tanjung Duren 85, where in other Cambridge schools an A would be an 80.
Mm.
And so I forgot if I actually like got that advice from you also or not. I think it was you who told me to do
Yeah,
that.
I remember you
Like
saying things like this in our
yeah,
section.
it was that. And then I also talked about how I also talked about the school hours because especially in Indonesia, our school, for example, like in Pistage, it's from 7 until 3, and then with the extra classes, it's going to be until
Yeah.
5 p.m. And then since I live like all the way across I live all the way across Jakarta. Pistage is in North Jakarta, and I live in South Jakarta. Like plus the traffic and everything,
Yeah.
I talked about like how I couldn't engage myself in as much extracurricular activities as the normal high school student
Yeah.
would. And then yeah, I think it was like pretty much about like explaining
Yeah.
the parts that would have raised like red flags to the admissions officers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's like one part of the application that took me so long to perfect
Mm-hmm.
because like it had like a 600 words maximum like word count, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to make sure that like I was using that section properly and maximizing.
Yeah. So
Yeah, right.
a lot of students didn't know that they can include that in the additional
Yes.
essay section. So when Sally come to me and telling me that I could have done better, you are so hard on yourself, like my grades is just this much, Santika, and I only can do this much, apa sih, extracurricular
Yes,
at
yes.
school. I think you told me like because of the time constraint and everything,
Oh,
and I
yes,
said
that's
you
true.
can just put it out there and let them decide if you have done your best within your constraint or not. And of course, you need to, like the curriculum, you need to understand it before you want to write it and let them know. If you don't know it and you just say, look, our school is just very hard, and that's it. You cannot just say that and without any reasoning or any backing up of data or facts, right? You need to let them know this is the facts. So if my grade is A here, it's only what A minus in where and whatever, right? It has to have a concrete basis on it, and it helps. Like they will see, okay, so if your grade is 7, this will account to maybe more than 7 in other schools. So their considerations of you will be a bit different compared to like other students who submit the same score as you. If that helps you explaining in the additional section. And I'm really glad that you come to me for that. And honestly, at that time, I was just um, telling you to give it a shot. And this is my first time hearing that it's actually, you feel that that helps your application, which is interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. And also, if you are able to share, what are the topics that you choose for your essay? Because I think,
Uh,
you have to choose a topic that you really can elaborate on and highlight your positive aspects.
oh, my Common App personal
Mm-hmm.
essay.
Yeah.
Oh, so in Common App, usually like there's a bunch of prompts that you can pick, right? I didn't pick any of the prompts.
Okay.
I custom prompt. So like you can write about anything you want. And what I wrote about was like my leadership experience and like activism in Indonesia.
Okay.
So like yeah, it was like environmental activism to be like precise. So it was like when I was in high school, I actually took part in a non-governmental organization. It's called Bye Bye Plastic Bags,
Okay.
and I'm currently like I just finished my like membership in a way. Like I stopped participating in the club because I have to like move abroad in a couple months. But like throughout that time, I've learned a lot of like interesting stuff along the way, and like I talked about like, but yeah, basically like leadership experiences and like the stuff I've learned
Right.
and how that relates to like my overall narrative
Yeah.
and
And that's
how I
very
wrote.
good perspective to share. And if friends here are in the class 10 sorry, grade 10 or grade 11, I think this is a very good time for you to maybe start building that part of your profile. Like maybe if you can do something outside of your classroom. Of course, I'm not saying that your grades are not important. No, it's very, very important. You need to try your best to ace the grades very nicely. But at the same time, look at the other side. Like, what can you do outside of classroom that can maybe enrich your experience when you're trying to, pitch yourself to the university? Like, okay, I have this and that experience outside of the class, and it makes me this kind of person, things like that. So you need to start thinking, and especially if you're in the grade 10 and 11, you still have time, you still have the opportunity. But when you are in the grade 12 and you started to jam everything, that I need to have this extracurricular, I need to do this community service or volunteer and everything, and you have your exams on the grade 12, right? So it will be just too much for you to juggle if you just want to start very last minute. So that's why we think if you come to us when you're in on grade 10 and 11, it's a very good start if you need to know what you need to prepare, right? Like for Sally, I remember the first time you come in, you were just like panicking, like, oh my God, I need to do this and that and this and that. And I told you, like, okay, you need to take care of what you can first. But the good thing is, you are already quite active in and outside of your class. So that really helps. But if you're not, and you're in grade 10 or 11, you can start now. Okay? It's not too late. All right. I think that's it from me. Thank you so much, Sally, for sharing. And Fina, if you have any additional questions for Sally.
No, it's all good. Like again, Sally, congratulations. I'm really excited. We'll definitely stay in touch with you probably when you're already in the States. We're going to invite you to have a session with us.
Thank
And
you.
a shout out for David, our fellow advisor from the US Embassy Jakarta. So, David is actually one of the advisors who is actually doing the outreaching to schools. And we are really happy to have him here, so that he probably can also assist students here if you guys are interested in maybe talking more on what we can help you with, you know. And Sally, thank you so much again. And congrats. I'm so proud of you. And I will definitely keep texting you and asking your updates. Okay. And I will see you, and probably invite you, like Fina said, to our upcoming events. So stay tuned to that. And thank you so much, Sally. And for all of you, if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Ask your questions away. And let's see what I have here. Let's see. If you guys wait, let me check the questions from other platforms. Here we go. Oh, we have a question from YouTube. It's from Theo Kornadi Wijaya. Thank you so much for the question. Could you explain about liberal arts? All right, Fina, can you help us answer this question?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question, especially Sally mentioned about liberal arts when she shared with us her story, right? So, if you joined the session when I from the beginning when I mentioned a little bit about community college and universities, and the fact that for the first 2 years you guys are allowed to explore courses and what have you, we can think of that as liberal arts courses. In the US, however, not however, but it's actually really interesting how, so we guys are familiar with, there are different type of schools, right? We get talking about private or public universities. And then there is another one called liberal arts college. I don't know, I think Sally did apply to, or not, to liberal arts college, or is it, but yeah, so there are a
So
number of
yeah,
schools
she said
that are
yes.
that are listed as liberal arts college in the US. That can also be something that probably you guys are interested in. So with liberal arts, it means that uh, oftentimes we are allowed to. So first of all, wherever you are, whichever universities that you're going to go to in the US, you are allowed to actually take a second major if you wish to do so. They call it double major, or they call it double degree, right? In liberal arts, you are allowed to do so as well. And on top of that, you are still allowed to take so many other courses. So the way I look, I know it's kind of like confusing. I couldn't really find like the right kind of like description on one sentence on what liberal arts college is without making us kind of like confused. What? So, but the way I look at it, I'm trying my best here to kind of like make people understand. So liberal arts, the way I look at it, is really interesting. Liberal arts are basically for people who are believe that only choosing one major is not enough. I don't know if that's kind of like makes sense for a lot of people. This is sort of for people who are I want to do entrepreneurship like Sally probably, but I also want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. By the time I graduate, I don't want to only know how to start a business, but I also know a history of art, or if you're talking about like art, right? Or maybe a little bit of like science, because yeah, that's what liberal arts college provide you with. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting, especially if you guys are still kind of not sure up to this point. Maybe you're already in grade 11 and you're still unsure on I seriously do not know what major that I want to go to. Liberal arts actually are really good options. Similar to like community college, right? Community college is also a good option when we just simply do not know what we want to go to or what we want to do in terms of like the major. Community college allows you to kind of like roam around for the first 2 years to kind of like let you take like classes, and then hoping that by the end of, or maybe when you enter the second year, you kind of like have a better idea. Okay, I want this major, and then you work with the advisor at that community college to pick the university so that by year 3 you are going to start at a 4-year university. So a lot of people think, oh wait, so if I started community college, then I transferred to university, 4-year university, meaning that I graduated in 6 years. No, the program is called 2+2. So you start at the first 2 years at the community college. And remember when I said earlier, there is no foundation. So when you enter community college, you are already a first year and second year student. And then you transfer, continuing your the degree to finish the degree in year 3 and year 4 at a 4-year university. I really hope that makes sense. If not, let us know, and I will try my best to get to kind of like find some words. I don't know, Santika. Do you have any? What do you think?
So yeah, if you have like additional questions when you do your research on community college versus 4 years university directly, and you are confused when you look at the requirements because they are a bit different. And just a brief difference is that if you want to go to community college, the plus is that they don't ask you for so many things, as not as much as if you want to apply to 4 years university. And another plus is that the tuition fee is relatively lower compared to 4 years university in the beginning of 2 years. But the risk, the cons for community college is, of course, you are not like secured yet. You will have to build your good GPA, your community engagement and volunteer, or even on campus job, which is doable even if you are in community college. That builds your profile so well that makes you more appealing when you apply for your transfer to the university that you really want. So that's the cons. But if you really are a good planner and you are focused, I don't think that's a bad thing to do. To go to community college first to maybe save some of the tuition fee and everything like that. So we can definitely help you plan on the strategy, which one is better for you, which one you really need, and everything like that. And if you're confused on the things needed for you to apply, and we are here to probably help you as well. We will not be able to submit it for you, but we will be able to guide you if you have questions on how to prepare them. Okay? And shout out to Miss Yeni and Miss Santi Laksmi, counselors of Penabur School Tanjung Doren and Kelapa Gading. Thank you so much for joining us and making this, wonderful session happen. And we look forward if you maybe, want to consult on anything, if your students want to ask anything about the US universities, we are here for you. And of course, thank you for also, bringing your students here atau negara lain ya. If you're not convinced to go to the US, that's also our job to convince.
We are
So,
so
right,
good at
Yeah, we are so good at
that.
that.
We
And
are
I think
so
by
good.
now, after, having Sally, having this talk, I think you're probably quite convinced, and you probably wonder when will Santika repeat the email address so that I can send my email. So the
And if
email
I may
address, yeah.
yeah. So if I may, just a little bit kind of like funny story. I won't remember. I won't forget this. For the longest time probably. I got This is like when we were still in America in Pacific Place. And then I still remember because I always stand by there on Sunday, right? And then Sunday is always like a lot of parents, family stopping by to America. And there's this one time we got a family, right, came in, and then just kind of like want to look around, like, what is this place? Because Ed America is like so cool. And then they kind of like, in a corner, there's this Education USA, and I was just like sitting there. And then they were like, so what is this? What is Education USA? And then, of course, I talk a little bit about, not a little bit, I talk a lot about education. Oh, yeah, this is a place if you want to study in the US, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of like find that kind of like intriguing by the whole, what? We never heard about Education USA. And so I talk a lot about like the whole education system. And then only to find out at the end, the parents were like, thank you so much for sharing this. And then the parents kind of like talk to the kid, you're going to the US. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fast. And then they said, yeah, because she is leaving to another country. I won't mention the name of the country. And then now we know about this place. Now I want my kid to study in the US. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
won't forget about this. So this is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it's a lot of things why we can choose US as our first or our target to
Yeah.
earn our bachelor degree or even master degree or PhD. It's because their system is just holistic and it's so flexible. So I would like to say and repeat this to anyone who just come in and still confused on the US education system, is that, is this possible? Do they have this? Do they have that? And I always tell them that there are more things that is available compared to that's not available. So if you're looking for like no, sorry, double degree, of combination of whatever, like you want to say business and let's see, engineering, business and engineering, let's say, it's possible. If even if there's nothing on the website, when you are there, you are studying in the school, in the program, let's say you are in the business program, and you're planning to, maybe I want to minor in engineering or whatever other field of study that you are interested in. You can go to the counselor and just appeal to them like, hey, I have this interest to take minor in engineering. Do you think it's possible? What do I need to do? What classes that I can take for this so that I can get a degree in major in business and minor in engineering? And they will help you navigate what are the classes that you need. This is what you need to do. This is how much GPA or performance that you need to show us to ensure us and everything like that. So it's really, really possible, even though it's not on the website. We call it case by case. Yeah, Vinaya. And yeah, it's just holistic. So they don't, like what Sally have shared. Um, Everything is taken into consideration. So you don't have to, be so crazy on your grades and so hard on yourself. Like if you don't get like A plus or 99 percentile, and you feel like,
Yeah.
okay, it's impossible for me to go to
Yeah.
good universities or reputable universities in the United States. That's totally misconception, right?
And I really like when you ask Sally Santika, what is like the most challenging aspect when she applied, and then she said essay, and of course Education USA at America here, Santika and I, we happen to be the place maybe for Education USA Indonesia to be the center where the demand for essay review is the highest. But just to kind of like a quick heads up, guys, we are not checking on your grammar. The reason is because both of us are not English native. So we are not comfortable in doing that. Of course, I have, some grammar errors here and there. But why people keep coming to us is because we help you on the structure. And this is, I think, I would guess why Sally found it really challenging, probably because you're not writing an essay, just writing an essay like what we know an essay is about. And that being said, I would like to invite you, and Asantika already shared this in the very beginning of this event. I am going to give you a fully, I don't want to say presentation anymore now because I'm not using any presentation anymore, but then next week on Wednesday evening. So we're going to share with you the information, and that maybe we're going to share with the teachers so that they can share it with you guys, the students. But yeah, I'm going to talk. The events will be kind of like heavily for graduate applicants, but I don't see why not you guys who are still in high school can't get, great benefits from this information. So essay is actually really, really, really important. There are so many parents, even students out there who are kind of, because this is, I want to kind of like continue with Santika mentioning the word holistic. A lot of parents out there kind of, I don't understand. My kids graduated with high school with full score, but they didn't get to this school or that school in the US. That's what the word holistic means. The US, yes, the US universities, yes, they are going to take a look at your grade, but it doesn't mean that, okay, you got 4.0, you got accepted 100%. This person 3.2, you're not going to get accepted because it's only 3.2. No, that's not what the US is looking for. And this is what is different between the US and other countries. Other countries, especially also Indonesia, we are very centric on academic performance. But it doesn't mean that you don't do good in academically. No, you definitely want to do good. But I'm just saying that the word holistic is really interesting in the US because it doesn't mean that you have 4.0, you're going to get accepted. But what holistic means is they really want to get to know you on a personal level. And how can you do that apart from your grade? The grade is just number. It's just kind of like show how you're actually good academically. But they want to know who you are and how can you do that essay. That's why writing an essay, you don't want to underestimate that. So I really look forward by us having the session with PPK Penabur and everyone else who is watching the session, that hopefully after this, Santika and I are going to receive a number of inquiry for one-on-one advising sessions. And we love reading essays, so bring it in, right? Bring it in. Yeah.
Well, actually, in the past, we also have a few advisees from Panabur School, but probably not the same branch because Panabur have a lot of other branches, right? And we always, faced with the Common App essay. So for undergrad applicants, it's very specific. So when they come to us, they come with the draft for the Common App essay or the UC application or the coalition essay, for that matters. But yes, you can come to us with that. And if you're confused on, maybe if they ask for CV or resume and you're confused on, okay, what should I put in here? Because then you are a high schooler, right? You don't put in where you work and everything like that. So yeah, we can probably try our best to help you work on that. And if you are confused on how to select the best fit university or community college for you, then we can also do that. But by all means, you need to do the major work, and we will be here to support you and give you guidance. Okay? So when you are ready with, your time and effort, we are always here for you. And I will wait for Miss Yenny or Miss Santi's confirmation on if whether Pa Philip will coming in again because we are waiting for him.
Get the answer. So we can't see the name, but we look forward to welcoming Philip.
There he is.
He's the head of school in Zoom participant.
Hello,
So,
Mr. Philip. So we will try our from here. Okay, you are unmuted.
Yes, thank you, Miss Santika, and thank you, Miss Fina. I've been listening to the entire session. Very, very informative. Very grateful for At America in providing this great service for our students at BPK Penabur Jakarta, specifically the international students. We have some of the greatest students in all of Jakarta and possibly even Indonesia. So I'm excited that we've been able to work together with you in this program and look forward to ongoing relationships with Ad America. I want to say to all the Penabur students, Penabur International students, uh, I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that you hear this, have heard this. I encourage you, like Miss Santika said earlier, if you're in grade 10 or grade 11, or if you have classmates who are in those categories or those grades, encourage them to get started in the process now. Start developing your portfolio. Get involved in organizations. Basically, in the U.S., there's a phrase that we would use when we were talking to students in the school regarding university applications: is the university is going to look at you as an individual and see if you will fit their brand. because you will, when you graduate from that university, you will be their brand ambassador, meaning that you are going to carry their name as a graduate of that school. So they want to make sure that you are going to fit them. So, like Miss Fina, Miss Santika said, it's not just about the grades, it's about you, the person, as well. Grades are important, so you need to keep working on that. Keep doing your homework and do your classwork and listen to your teachers and study hard. Put in the effort. I'm really proud of Miss Sally, making that effort every day to drive from the south up to the Tanjung During campus. I know that drive. It does get tiring, but she did it, and as a result of the sacrifice, she had all of those opportunities, which gave her a wide selection to choose from, and then she could choose one uh, one school that fit actually what she wanted. Um, and so I'm glad that Miss Sally from the Kalapagating campus, sorry, I earlier said Tanjung During campus, but from the Kalapagating campus, um, has been able to do that. And we've been a part of that process, but also at America has been a part of that process. So congratulations, Sally. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of others um, from Penabon International who will be going to some great universities, some big names, some no names, but still pursuing their dream and their goal. So, again, thank you so very much. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Pa Philip, for your kind words and encouragement. And of course, we are expecting, a lot of other Panabur students to come to us so that we can have more, um, advices like Sally here. That makes us all proud and, of course, motivating. So, with that being said, if you are already accepted like Sally here, or if your friends in the 12th grade are also accepted to any US universities other than Sally, and Sally, if your friends are accepted to other US universities and going to US, feel free to refer us to them, because what we can do for you after you got accepted to US universities, any US universities, even community college, is that the fourth and the fifth step. So on the fourth step, it will be you applying for the student visa. We will be able to provide you with the general step by step on how you want to navigate on how you can apply for the student visa, what are the costs that you will need to prepare and everything like that, just an overview. And you will be the one who, fill in the forms and everything and go for the interview. And after you got your student visa, or if you are still in the process of getting a student visa, you can still come to our pre-departure orientation, which is the fifth step. It's where we try our best to invite visa counsel from the U.S. Embassy. We this time we also try to invite CDC just to talk about vaccination because of the concern of the pandemic and the COVID-19. We also try to invite like current students there so that you can maybe ask about the student life there and everything like that. We also give you a brief presentation on maybe what you need to prepare before you go, how you will navigate your first week or like second first 2 weeks and everything like that. So yeah, by all means, it's from step 1 until 5, and even if you are already there, you can still reach us if you have any questions or concerns that you are scared maybe to ask anyone in the States. Okay, so we have a question from Miss Yenny. So Miss Yenny, you want us to unmute you? Let our team work on that for a minute, and we will be able to hear you.
Hello, sorry. Thank
Hi,
you
Miss
for.
Yenny.
Sorry, I cannot open the camera
It's
because my
fine.
internet is not stable.
Yeah, that's totally
One of
fine.
my questions. This year I was helping my student to apply to U.S. universities, and currently I helping using the Common App. But now the university gave me the feedback asking me to send their transcript through some providers. But when I try to reach the providers, the provider asking for a payment is quite high. It's about it's quite for like 500 until 700 US dollar per year, and that they say that the school should pay, but I cancel to join with them. Is there any way for at America to help us? Hello?
Hello. So,
Yes?
yeah, on the cost for that, this is our first time hearing that anyone who wants to submit a transcript will
Yes.
be required to, pay certain amount of money. So it will be nice if we can maybe go through it in a one-on-one session with Miss Yenny. Maybe you can probably try to share screen with me or Fina later, and we can try our best to maybe check if that is
Yeah.
necessary or not, because so far that I know, all of our advisees for the undergrad who use Common App and asking their counselor or teacher to upload the letter of recommendations or transcript do not share to us that they will need specific payment. So,
Yeah. Sorry, the payment. Sorry. Just interrupt. The payment is not come from Common App, but the
okay.
university send the student. They send an email to the student. They have to send it through that like. Sorry, I will mention the brand. Sorry, is it okay?
It's fine.
Yeah, like Xiaofo, Parchment. When I trying to connect with them with through the website, they are asking, uh, should be a payment is quite high. Is
Okay.
as I mentioned that.
Okay. So it's probably an evaluation that is needed for the transcript. And yes, that will require a payment,
Yeah.
right? Fina, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I was asking in the Zoom chat, is it credential evaluation? Because yeah, I agree with Santika. We've never heard that the university asked us to kind of like go to like a third party, except for credential evaluation. When it comes to kind of like university refer us to a third party, credential evaluation would be the only one that I can think of. Thank you, Miss Yan. Okay, it's called CIALFO. We'll look it up. If it's a credential evaluation, then yes, it's kind of in Indonesia we call it penyetaraan, and it's quite common for U.S. universities to ask this. Usually, the common one called WES, World Education USA World Education Service. But there are a number of other third party. But yeah, we'll be happy to take a look at this and get back to you, Miss Yanni, and anyone
Thank
who.
you very much.
Right.
Because
So,
that's why after that with my regret, I asked the student to send the transcript, not on any other standardized, but the transcript like tools or transcript through that website. And that's why I said better you send through the like feedbacks or uh, the other packets like we
okay.
use it. But before, when my from my experience, the university just asks the counselors email that we can send directly or through the common app is enough. But there is two students come to me. They said that you need to send through this because there is an email from university. If as at America you can help us as a school, because if not you have to pay per year is quite expensive for now with the Indonesian dollars.
I get a chance to just real quick look it
Google
up.
it. Yeah.
Thanks, Google, of course. And this is okay. Let me start by saying there are a lot of organizations out there hate Education USA. In a
Because we are
way,
free,
it's
like
like we are taking their
100%
job.
free.
So CLFO, I look it up. It's basically some kind of like a counseling slash
Yeah.
agency, and yes, of course, you gotta pay. And then basically, if any of the students or parents or teachers want to use that, by all means, please do so. But I'm just saying, there's another one called Education USA that is Guy and I who are basically doing the same thing, and we are doing it for free of charge, basically.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just an option. I know there are a lot of parents like confused, like, wait, so why should I go to this agency? Or I heard from other parents I should go to this institution or whatever. While now I know that you guys are here, and my answer is, I don't know, but we are
Right.
here. We are
Exactly.
here, and we are here for the students, we are here for the parents, we are for the teachers, and I'm really glad that the U.S. government decided to have us, and I'm really glad that we are part of it as well. So yeah, it's basically just an
Yes.
option, more options for people to choose. Technically, we are doing the same thing with
Exactly.
no or what have you, and then there are some others who are doing exactly the same thing as what Education USA is doing, but you got to pay for the service.
Right.
So yeah.
So with Education USA, everything is free from the beginning until the end, and we don't have any limit on how many times you can meet me or meet Fina. What we have as a constraint is just probably we won't have like, you know, um, like time for everyone. So that's why when you come to us very, very last minute, like 1 week before you need to submit your essay and you are seeking our guidance to essay review, then that is probably the time when everyone also have the same deadline. That's when it gets really competitive to see me or Fina. That's the only drawback that I can think of. But if you come to us early, you will not have that problem at all. And when I look
And
at here, on the on when I quickly search this brand that was mentioned by Miss Yenny is also saying it says a college application platform. So what I want to give a heads up to everyone here who is listening is they can say they are a platform, but they're actually a consulting firm that will ask for like application fees or anything like that. But what they will actually do is not like a common app. Common app is the real application platform. It's where you submit your documents, they will forward it, or like it's connected to the university directly, and you will pay the application fee for each of the university through the Common App platform as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sally, but it will be all there. You will not be asked to, pay certain amount for certain service. It's just application platform. Um, Coalition and UC application website is also like that. So it's totally different from what Miss Yenny was mentioning. Okay. And Miss Yenny, if you will be so kind, you can refer the student to Fina or me, and we'll be happy to take it over from there. Okay.
yeah,
I
and then
hope, yeah.
just to add, yeah, just to add real quick, because David, our colleague from the U.S. Embassy, which is a real, I think it's really good. David said, I think it is better to contact the direct admission office at the university and make sure you are enrolling to the regular class, not the pathway or other programs. And institution like Stialfo and there are many others, and maybe also another name inside the university. Sometimes they're kind of like, I don't want to say misleading, but kind of like make the students to kind of like enrolled in a pathway, and then sometimes the students or parents don't really understand what that means. It just seems like they make it easier for us to get accepted, only to find out that when you enter the university, you need to have some kind of like a pathway, or the way I look at it, it's kind of like foundation, which, yeah, no, the US doesn't have, but there are a number of small universities that it's not a foundation, but they kind of like make it longer for you to kind of like stay in that university. And we want to avoid that. So, and if you're unsure, if you're getting this kind of message and you want us to kind of um, to check, feel free to do that. Feel free to do that.
So, after talking for almost 2 hours, I received a very good news in my direct message that someone is asking how to book one-on-one advising with us. So I will share again that you can just come to our Zoom meeting room, and I will share the ID here. So the Zoom meeting ID is 276-124-396, and we are available from 1 until 9 p.m. So Fina and I split the hours. I will be there from 1 until 5, and Fina will be from 5 until 9. And on days where we have events like this, of course, both of us are here. So there's nobody in the advising room. So you just need to come on days where we don't have events like this. And if you don't feel like coming to the Zoom directly, you feel shy or anything like that, you can email us at jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org, And other than that, I will copy paste this into the Zoom chat box, and we will be closing this event in a very uh, near time. So, Fina, if you have any closing words for today, or we can just pass it to our At America team.
Yeah, no, basically just kind of like echoing what Santika said. I'm not trying to scare you guys, or maybe I want to scare you guys. Look, there are only the two of us here in Education USA at America, and we happen to be the center where people go to us, especially for essays. And of course, when we do that, it won't take like just 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It can take like maybe, minimum of like 30, 45 minutes. And the fact that there are other, basically your seniors, which is, those people who are young professionals who are also use our service, it means that there are so many people out there who are basically coming and try to see us. And sometimes it will be really hard, but if you start very early, especially like in the beginning of the year all the way until like June or July, that's kind of like, I want to say, kind of our quiet times. Please use that time frame to kind of like work, especially on your essay when it starts after, like in fall, like and like July onward. That's going to be like our busiest time. So yeah, and that's it. Thank you so much, Santika. Thank you so much, BPK Penabur International Division. Thank you for the head of school and everyone else. Mbak Reni, Mbak Rina, sorry. Basically, I've been, we are exchanging, WhatsApp a lot, making sure that we got everything for the session. And hopefully we can collaborate again in the future. And thank you, Santika, for sharing the our Zoom session ID. I will basically going to be in Zoom at from 5 until 9. So if any of you guys want to just kind of like pop in, and maybe those who get a chance to ask question and or we don't get a chance to answer it, please come in and I'll be standing by. So yeah, gonna give you back to Santika.
Thank you, Fina, for working extra, because I mentioned that we usually don't have any, advising for when we have events on the day, but you will anyway. So yeah, this is a very good chance, guys. If you are interested to talk with Fina, then you just need to come into the Zoom meeting ID that is provided after 5 p.m. today. And I want to thank everyone again. Thank you, everyone who have been watching and coming here for making this happen. Miss Rina, Miss Santi, Miss Yenny, and Mr. Philip for all of your time, your precious time. And thank you, Sally, for sharing. I'm really, really happy that we can make this happen and make it informative. So, yeah, we hope to see you again in our Zoom meeting room, or see you in our email. All right, I will pass it back to At America team. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Kak Santika, Kak Fina, and also Sally for the insightful session we have today. We are looking forward to have another session with you guys in the future. And also thank you to Mr. Philip Myers for the closing remarks earlier. And now, the rest of you, please don't go anywhere, because I have the name of the winner for our social media quiz today. Earlier in this event, I asked you guys, what does the Latin term alma mater mean? And the correct answer is C, nurturing mother. And our lucky winner for today is Andri Hapsoro from YouTube. Congratulations. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this event, Ad America is having a very special activities, and we're giving out an iPad Pro. And how do you participate? You can participate by posting a picture of your own design for a mask to your social media. Use the hashtag mask to unmask on the caption. And don't forget to tag our social media account at ATAmerica. For further information, you can visit atam.tv/mask to unmask. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Easy. You can go to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click Create an Event, and collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed, and your event might be featured here soon. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletters for weekly event updates sent straight to your inbox. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at ATAmerica for event updates, fun content, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy weekend!